It's so hard to be genuine in front of the camera. You just want to be expressive and hide behind your, I don't know, inane outcries of nonsense or something. Or you clam up and you're totally just proper and, clean cut and all that jazz. You know, yeah, it's really hard to be in front of the camera. It's a natural talent I'm not born with. But practice. Anyway, so I'm just gonna plow on. I don't know how to be genuine about this, so I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna be whatever. I am starting this video because I wanted to talk about my teeth. Yeah, it's that time again, folks. It's that time of year. So, so the thing about my teeth is, it's always been a nightmare of mine that they'll fall out, that they'll just get loose, and I've had so many nightmares, like literal nightmares, like dreaming with, one time I had a dream that all of my teeth were being yanked out by somebody, and then they were shoving horse teeth in to replace them. I remember when I was like 12, I broke down crying to my mom, just randomly one school night, because I just was so convinced that my teeth were going to fall out at any minute or whatever, any day and stuff. And so, yeah, so it's always been a nightmare of mine. So, I've had to cope with that my whole life, or I guess not cope with it because I've just let it sink in and stuff. So I'm taking this opportunity to make a video about something that has frightened me and hung like a dark cloud over my life that I've tried to avoid, like a subconscious dark cloud, like that I've tried to avoid, coping with or dealing with or solving or whatever, resolving my emotions with. And so I just figured that it makes the most sense to just, I don't know, just address it exactly as it is. And I feel like that might be able to help me with my, undercurrent fears, and it might be able to help me actually cope and accept my current situation. So, this is me being absolutely public about something that is a very deep, dark secret of mine that I have a lot of trouble dealing with by myself. So I'm going to share it with, anyone else who's going to watch this. Maybe 7+ billion of you, but more than likely, not. More than likely, maybe 100 of you, or 50, or 2. I don't know. So my current predicament is that, in fact, I think my nightmare from my childhood, one of my probably the oldest nightmare I've ever had that I've carried with me through my whole life, is coming true. So yeah, so it looks like right now I have a case of gum disease that may not be immediately obvious to, especially to somebody who's never seen my face before right now. It may not be immediately obvious that I actually have, but yeah, in fact, I'm going through a lot of gum disease right now, and I've been frantically, trying to figure out solutions for this. I changed my whole diet this past week. I changed it all, just a complete 180. I realized that, while I do in general eat very healthy, like organic food and, a bunch of just nothing processed really, nothing with preservatives or anything like that. It just is not comfortable for me. Well, I realized that I didn't really have a balanced diet, even though it was something that was healthy, you know, on the face of it. And so I did a whole 180. I wasn't getting enough calcium in my diet. And so for this past week, I've been adjusting to eating kale and yogurt and, like, cashew milk or almond milk or something like that. Just stuff like that, you know, rather than, you know, diving into fruits and depending on that, and especially sugars and carbs. And I realized that I had a lot more of that in my life than I really needed. So, I mean that, and then of course, like, I've been brushing twice a day. I, you know, just got a water pick recently, so I've been using that. I've always been flossing, you know, I've always flossed. I've used mouthwash for, you know, I don't know, for a long time, you know. So, yeah, so I feel like, in general, I do a pretty good job of taking care of myself and my mouth, you know, especially with the whole nightmare thing hanging over me. You know, I went out of my way the way that I battled that nightmare was to try to do, like, a better job than most people of taking care of my teeth. And I think that that's been held true throughout my life. I would say that of the people that I know, I probably take care of my teeth better than anyone else that I know. Or that I manage them. I manage my teeth better than anyone else I know. I don't know if anyone else goes through, like, that rigorous process. It's a whole kind of, like, you know, process every night for me. Every day, you know, occasionally I'll take my toothbrush out with me so I can just brush, like, wherever I am, at work or school or something. But that doesn't happen, like, too often. But anyway, regardless of all that, my teeth are still apparently seeming like they're gonna fall out. And I don't know when that's gonna happen. And maybe I'm a little, what's the word? Jumping the gun a little bit. Like, maybe I'm being a little extreme just because, like I've told you, I've had that nightmare. I've been carrying that nightmare forever. And so, you know, like, like a sign pops up and I'm just like, oh, it's happening, you know? But I think it's pretty true, you know, my gums are receding. I've been going through a lot of, like, gum recession, in these past, like, couple months, and I would say it started to become noticeable to me, like about a year ago or something. And I remember I went to my dentist about it, and they were like, oh, well, let's just keep an eye on it. Like, it's fine where it is. Like, it's true, you're kind of young, but, you know, just keep a watch out, you know, take care of yourself. And so they really didn't give me the impression that it was something that, like, that they didn't give me, first of all, they didn't give me any actions to take in response to it. They didn't tell me, like, oh, you gotta change this and, you know, reconsider that. And second of all, like, their attitude was just like, well, you know, it happens. Like, you know, it's not a big deal right now, so don't freak out. So, you know, that's just kind of, I was like, okay, well, I guess this is my own personal issue. Like, I'm not comfortable with this, but, you know, if my dentist, like, the professional or whatever, is approaching me this way, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know where else to turn, you know? Like, I'm just gonna keep it the way that it is. Like, keep doing what I'm doing. And, I had a consultation recently with somebody who's not a dentist, because I think dentists are ultimately evil. I've always, you know, it goes along really well with my nightmare of, like, losing my teeth, that I've always hated dentists. Dentists give me nightmares. Like, I've had traumatic experiences with dentists. Like, that's probably Um, yeah, that's just a horrible experience for me when I go to the dentist most of the time. So it like matters a lot to me that I go to a dentist who's actually communicative, like just basically talking to me and addressing me from like at least some degree of empathy, rather than just being like, oh, like I can't tell you how many dentists I've had over the years that have made me feel like it's my fault that I have these cavities and that I whatever, like every time when I was younger, I have so many, I have a bunch of crowns, when I was younger, I had so many cavities, and, I've had experiences of dentists telling me, like what, why aren't you taking care of your teeth? And, going through, having gone through that when I was younger and going through what I'm going through right now, which is the gum recession, I'm realizing, like, I deserve to have a good mouth. And the fact of the matter is, I just don't. And it's not my fault. Like, it's seriously genetics. And it's really unfortunate. And it sucks because, like, I think a huge part of the nightmare of tooth loss is the stigma. The stigma, like, within our modern culture of just having, like, this beautiful, perfect, straight, white, like, perfectly sized and portioned to your face kind of, like, teeth. And, like, that's just not really the case for me, These two right here, these two front teeth are crowns. When I was younger, like, they were kind of stained. I was just born, I don't know if I assume I always kind of had the inclination that it had something to do with too much fluoride or something, but I never really looked into it too much, and then they both chipped when I was, like, in my teens or whatever. And so they just gave me crowns or whatever. My teeth have just always been really shitty, and it sucks, like, because I feel like I try so hard, and it just, like, feeds into this narrative, like, of I try so hard, but it's not enough. Like, I'm really trying here, I deserve to have good teeth, like, I go above and beyond most people that I know. I don't even know if, like, most people brush their teeth every night, let alone twice a day with a water pick and floss and mouthwash. Like, I make this solution of, like, water and, salt and, there's some tea tree oil and whatever, nitrogen peroxide, to, like, try to help out to provide, like, a better kind of mouthwash when I'm using the water pick and whatever, all of its details, it's whatever. My point is, I'm gonna lose my teeth, and I have, like, a personal attachment to them because, like, I've worked really hard throughout my life to keep them, harder than most people, and two, because it's part of my freaking body. Like, I don't want that bone loss if my teeth fall out. Like, I don't want that. I don't even know how unhealthy that is. Like, I already, have a condition that I have to, cope with, like a medical condition, just on my own. So, like, dealing with that on top of, like, this extreme bone loss, with something that, I don't know, I really love smiling. I don't know if that's apparent, in this video or whatever, but that's the other thing. Like, that means a lot to me. And, like, I get, like, if I get dentures or something, I'll still be able to smile or whatever. But again, I guess it just goes back to the stigma, and that freaks me out. And I feel like it's so unfortunate in our society that, like, the process itself is difficult enough without having everyone, like, on top of that, like, counted against you. Like, I'm already really bummed out that I'm doing everything I can and I'm gonna lose my teeth, and then on top of that everyone's gonna, like, count it against me, like, oh, that girl's weird, or I don't know, like, maybe there will be a time where I don't yet have dentures, but I'm losing a bunch of teeth, and, like, I'm just gonna look, I don't know, like, it's just not a comfortable image for me, you know? But, whatever, because we have this, like, status quo ideal of, like, what somebody's supposed to look like and how attractive they're, like, supposed to be or whatever. Anyway, I'm losing my teeth. It sucks. I'm gonna be completely public about it. You know, like, I don't know, like, the best approach that I've had so far to it the best, like, approach that makes light of the situation for me is just understanding, like, I just have a case of pirate teeth. Like, I'm part pirate, my teeth are gonna fall out, and, you know, like, whatever, maybe pirates are in my ancestry. I don't know. But, you know, I don't know how long it's gonna take. Nobody's actually said to me that my teeth are gonna fall out, but I know the reality of, like, the stage of gum disease that I'm in. I know the reality is that, like, it results in bone loss, in tooth loss, you know, with time. So I don't know. Yeah, that's just where my life is right now. I'm going to be public about it because I'm tired of carrying this nightmare around, and I'm tired of the stigma, you know, and, like, holding in that stigma my whole life, and, you know, I just want to address it full on, you know, like, if I have to get dentures and stuff, like, whatever, I did my best, and I don't think anybody should have to go through, you know, like, this crappy stigma for something that is beyond their control. It's totally genetics. Like, it totally is, you know? I shouldn't have had dentists yelling at me, like, blaming me for cavities just because I was born that way, you know? Like, it's not my fault, and I did the best I could. And I think that's kind of the message that I want to send out to everybody, you know? Like, you do the best you can, and I think people need to start recognizing that more, and start recognizing when things are just beyond our control and not counting that against people, you know, the things that are beyond our control. Whether it's teeth or money or, you know, your physical aesthetics or whatever, you know, or, like, just body stuff and, you know, just the cards that you're dealt with in your life. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think that's where I'm gonna end it for now. Let's see if I can catch the bus in time. Until next time, folks.